Once bitten here. So we move on to game 4 of Buckeye battles, and my Undying Dynasties are facing off against some Highborn Elves. Now, normally against Elves, I think that's a great matchup for me. Because they're susceptible to my shooting. I've got a lot of arrows in the air, but a weakness of my army are just large elite infantry, large units of elite infantry, and this one has a couple of those. I'm also a little bit susceptible to things like lion chariots because I fear they could just blow through any of my units, with the exception of my battle cats. So anyway, this is the scenario where we put a couple tokens down. They're just scattered across. They're two across the table. He's got some archers in the right-hand corner. Then he's got his general on a lion chariot hiding behind the hill. Yeah, so he's pretty tough to wound. He's of course high leadership. Blah blah blah. He's got some Sea Guard on the hill, and that has his cosmology level 3 wizard. He's got an eagle behind it, some sword masters. Then his Lion Guard, he's got 28 of these bad boys, and his Battle Standard Bearer in there. They've got the Stalker Standard, which I think is pretty good to have, especially just the Swift Stride. And then way over here, he's got a Lion Chariot. I think he put this here because we were just going back and forth with the deployment. This is the one where you had to go back and forth with deployment. And so I think both of us were kind of putting things. He was trying to make me think he was going centrally, and then he cornered over here, and I had so many units that it just didn't matter. So I've got both my battle cats over here. There's nothing in his army that they fear, except for the Lion Guard. They fear them a lot, so I'm like as far away from the Lion Guard as I can get. Otherwise, I'm not worried about his shooting. I'm not worried about his magic. His general, I'm only slightly worried about. So really, what I was trying to do over here is make it to where I could, get some archers shooting at him over here, and then I was trying to just line up three or four units of Necro Guard, hopefully to get like a flank charge in his lines or something like that. Of course, they're going to be stubborn with the character in there, but I still think that's my best chance of trying to whittle them down. And then over here, the archers on the far left, that was my initial deployment, but there's going to be there's a token within easy range of them. So I'm thinking either he's got us in his Lion Chariot after that unit of archers, in which case I just have to figure out another way to get that objective marker, but by so doing, he's going to take that guy pretty much out of all the important stuff, or it's going to be easy for those archers to secure at least one of those scenario objectives for me. So this is it after Vanguard. And in hindsight, that unit of fast cav there in the middle, I put him in range of his all his shooting, which doesn't make any sense at all. So obviously he's going to go first because he has so many fewer units than I had. So he moves up very aggressively, as you can see. We go to shooting, and he picks on this unit of archers. I think he made them flammable. I take that back. Never mind. Anyway, he just shot a heck load of them. Now you figure he's hitting on 3s, and oh no, he got a spell off on his archers, which made them one better ballistic skill. So he was hitting on 3s. He would have hit on 2s, but he was long range. So hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s with one unit, and then hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s. The other unit, 15 wounds. I think he rolled a little bit high. Normally I would expect to have a few guys left there. And then through some other means, he killed one unit of fast cav. That scares me. I desperately need my fast cav to deal with his Lion Guard unit to slow him down. To go to my phase, I don't. You can see I move later. I don't move much. I forgot to take a picture of it. But during, I think it was magic, I got one of the caskets off on his Lion Chariot and put a couple wounds on it. So that was nice. I'd rather kill it, of course, but even just a couple wounds helps out a lot. Now, by the way, in case you didn't notice in the picture, he moved this guy away from my archers to get closer to the action. So, yeah, for better or for worse, that's what's going on there. Then we go to shooting. I drop a rock on the Swordmaster's head. I roll like crap and kill only just a couple of them. But they have to take a panic test at -1. His general's right there at leadership 10, so they're on a 9. With a reroll, because his BSB is barely within 12 inches, and they fail a 9 rerollable. That is huge. The Swordmasters, because I'm thinking, how do I deal with the Lion Guard and the Swordmasters? And now the Swordmasters, they're not out of the game, but they are, Anyway, they ran through his Sea Guard with his mage, and they are at a leadership 9 with no reroll, and they fail it. And lucky for him, you run away from your nearest enemy unit, which is one of my battle cats, which sent him this direction, therefore not off the table. I can't even express to you how huge this is, because now, I mean, these guys are going to rally, whatever, but basically now he has 2 small armies instead of 1 big army. Elsewhere in shooting, I dropped the second rock on these guys, and he started with 28 plus a BSB, and right now he's at 25, so I killed 4. Very disappointed with that. Of course, these guys have a good armor save versus shooting. Alright, so we go to his turn. Now, one thing I committed on my turn is, if you look in the middle, I put Fast Cav redirecting his Lion Guard. So I lost 1 Fast Cav. This is my only other unit of Fast Guard. So this is it. So I lined things up so that his Chariot can't charge me, his Lion Guard can't overrun and possibly hit my unit, any of my units. So he's going to kill that unit of Fast Cav. He's going to reform, and I'm going to triple. If he's not careful, I might. If he's not careful with how he reforms, I can put my rightmost unit of Necroguard into his flank if I roll well enough. So I'm just kind of going all in right from the start. I don't like doing that. It almost always backfires against me. But I figured I probably wouldn't have any Fast Cav left. Otherwise, I'll talk more about that later. So there's that. His general makes a long charge to a battle cat. I'm a little bit scared here on the charge, but for the most part, he's going to have to get pretty lucky in his rolls, and I think I'm going to stick. If I stick, I have an option of charging a Necroguard into the flank, or a battle cat into the other flank, or both, or whatever. He didn't get much off in the magic phase because this wizard's kind of, it rallied, is kind of far away. Anyway, easily, of course, kills the Fast Cav and reforms. His general comes in and does a single wound. I do a single wound to him. So he wins by a charge. I crumble 1 less. We all stick around. So I'm happy enough. I think his general needs 6s to wound me, but if he does do wounds, maybe it does 2, or maybe he did 2 wounds. I don't know. Whatever it was. For the most part, we're not worried about what's going on there. So we go to Undying Dynasties turn 2. And I'm thinking, let's go. I've got his army separated. Let's take care of it so he can't bring his units up to support. So I take all 3 Necro units into his Lion Guard unit. He still has a Lion Chariot there on the top left of this picture. So that's where caskets and magic missiles and everything I have is going at that Lion Chariot, because I'd really like that guy dead. I don't need him hitting a unit, blowing through it, and just going through everything. Now, one thing we forgot to do, and I think the reason why is because you can't see it, but those guys are on the ruins. Now, he has a Stalker standard, but my guys don't. I should have taken dangerous terrain for 2 of those units and lost several. May or may not have mattered because I had magic phase, and if I got a spell off, they regrow, yada, yada, yada. But certainly I should have taken it, and just both of us forgot. I kind of feel bad about that. These guys, he lined it up in his reforms so that my 4th unit of Necroguard were not in the flank. They were in the front. So instead, I charged his general. And it looks like I'm losing a few models, and my guess is that's where his archers shot this turn. So first turn, he had 2 units shoot at archers and did 15 wounds. This turn, he had 1 unit of archers and only did 4. So I appreciated that. Amazingly, he passed his panic test when I charged him with this battle cat. I just like the idea of, I didn't think I really needed this guy to deal with his general, and I like the idea of, 1, getting these guys off the table because they're really starting to hurt, and 2, I want to be up here threatening his swordmasters. I'm not really worried about his swordmasters, and I think my opponent's just in a lot of trouble with a battle cat in his backfield. So we go to this. So we go to the magic phase, and my opponent did a good job of stopping pretty much all the spells. Now here is where I'm thinking, if I take in dangerous terrain, a few wounds makes a big difference. So again, I apologize to my opponent for that. Anyway. When we went into this, I'm thinking, I've got so many more bodies. It looked like it was so much to my advantage. But swinging first and being strength 6, he just does a ton of wounds. I mean, I did a fair number of wounds to him, but he still won combat, and I crumbled a bunch. And the problem is with this being on my turn is, it's not like I can have a magic phase before we fight again. So we're going to fight again. I'm thinking, I think I just threw the game away. I just threw the game away because he's going to charge his Lion Chariot into the flank of that leftmost unit, and is just going to crumble everything. I just snatched defeat from the jaws of victory again. Every time I do this, every time I go for turn 2 charges, it bites me in the butt. Meanwhile, over here, yeah, I think I punch 1 wound through in his general, and we're just going to grind it out. I don't have anything else really for these units to do. I mean, yes, it'd be nice if they could help with the Lion Guard. I'm happy enough for them just to lock his general down, and if I slowly kill him over time. I win combat over here. I do not use my breath weapon. I'm going to save that for the Swordmasters. I try to restrain because his eagle is blocking his Swordmasters from being able to charge my Battle Sphinx. If I could have restrained, he was going off the table. I would have reformed to face the Swordmasters, and I mean whatever. But I failed my restrain and went off the table. All right, so we got High Elf turn 3. His Lion Chariot charges the flank of my Necro unit. I am in so much trouble. I'm in so much trouble. And I only have 2 units of archers, and I moved them up so I could buff with magic, and I didn't get any magic off, so my Hierophant is in those fields right there. I'm not in a good place. I am not in a good place at all. Now this guy's down to 2 wounds left. Oh, I thought he only had 1 wound left. Either way, he's got a wound or 2 left. And we go to combat, and his Lion Chariot rolls a single impact hit. He rolls a 1. That made all the difference in the world. And then his guys kind of flubbed as well. And so when all's said and done, I'm not in a great position. Unit in the middle got evaporated. My units at the end, they are where they are. And I crumble down to 1 guy left on the left, which is huge because I have a magic phase. I can regrow those guys back. But even then, I'm thinking, he gets to swing first. I mean, he's probably still going to win this. And now the problem is he's probably going to win it on my turn. I need some good magic and get these units up so that he can't crumble them on my turn. His general dies, so that was very, very nice. And yeah, so if you look at the top right, he took a Swordmasters and just moved him right up to my Battle Sphinx. I think he didn't want my Battle Sphinx to come on and be able to threaten his, his bunker. So whatever. So I come on. I'm gonna use my breath weapon this turn to try to whittle his Swordmasters down, knowing that on my opponent's turn he's going to charge me, because if he doesn't, I'm just going to charge him. He might as well. So my opponent's down to just very, very little. He's got a little bit of Lion Guard left. He's got his bunker, his Swordmasters, and an eagle. Of course, I've lost a fair bit as well. We go to magic and/or shooting. I kill his eagle. And we go to the magic phase. Oh, we're still in the magic phase. And I get a buff off on the unit on the left. And I think my opponent thought I was going to regrow them into combat. And I'm like, heck no, I'm not growing them. I'm growing them. There's nothing saying I have to grow them into combat. So they go wide, so I'm not giving my opponent any more attacks. I just need people to survive. And they don't anyway. Even though most of his guys were out of combat, just everything he had, it all hit, it all wounded. I did only a little bit back, and he crumbled. I threw 3 units of Necroguard at this unit, and they died. Luckily, amazingly, I killed his Lion Chariot, so that was nice. But he's got this. Now, he does that, and then he reforms him like that to make him a little bit closer. And on his turn, I think he makes a huge mistake. He charges my leftmost archer unit because he thinks he's going to blow through them, overrun, and start hitting my caskets and stuff like that, and start mopping up all those points. Which, I mean, there's some wisdom there. But he could have charged my Hierophant's unit and blown through them, and then killed my Hierophant, and then my whole army starts crumbling. Now, my army is somewhat resistant to crumbling, with the exception of archers, but nevertheless, I mean, it hurts. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, so I whittle a few down with my breath weapon on my phase. He charges his Swordmasters on his phase. He shoots and really kind of whiffs a lot. I mean, this Necroguard unit for this game is kind of too far away to really fight much. So now it's just a matter. He's trying to get the points, and I'm trying to save the points. And after combat, yeah, he blows through the archer unit and overruns into the casket. Meanwhile, over here, this is the worst thing in the world that can happen. So Swordmaster, for him, Swordmasters charge my Battle Sphinx, and I win, and he breaks. And having seen that, I'm thinking maybe it wasn't smart. Maybe he should have just parked in front of me and taken the charge. He risks failing a terror test. But I pursued him. I didn't catch him, but I'm not where you see me. I'm up where that die is, where that blue circle is. That's where I'm at. And this is my opponent's turn. So on my turn, that Battle Cat is going to charge the flank of his bunker, he's screwed. There's just, yeah, that's just, the only thing he has going for him is this, and check this out. So he charges in, he kills my casket. All units within 12 inches take 3 plus 3d3, strength 1 hits, no armor save. So it puts 3 wounds on my own catapult, and I do 2 or 3 wounds to him, and it forces a panic test. He's at leadership 9 rerollable, and he fails it. You've got to be kidding. At this point, my opponent is so used to failing leadership tests. He's like, he didn't. He's like, yeah, of course they did. Of course they failed a leadership 9 rerollable. They run away from the nearest enemy unit, which was my Hierophant's unit, and they are rallying on half leadership, no reroll. It's, if I made this stuff up, you wouldn't believe me. We get Undying Dynasties turn 4. Yeah, if you look at the top, and I charge his bunker unit. I don't know if he failed a tear or chose to flee, whatever it was. I mean, they're dead. Yeah, on my opponent's turn, he doesn't rally, and that's the game. I mean, he's completely tabled. I lost a lot of units, but because I got both scenario objectives, and I lost a lot of units, but I still had a lot of units. That ended up being a, my memory, I think that might have been a 20-point win right there. If memory serves, I got full 20 points out of that, even though I lost a couple archer units, a casket, and 3 necro units. It just, yeah. Anyway. Here's what I thought on the game. I thought I played a horrible game, and I'm just lucky that my opponent was so unlucky. And so, but this was good for me. It helped me get some clarity around my list. So this is how I had deployed, and I'm thinking, there is no reason for me to be up so far. Now, it's one thing to say I want my archers to be able to shoot at his archers, but even then, that's not necessary. My opponent, I have him so outranged, he's going to come to me. I should have stayed back with things and given myself at least 2, maybe if I'm back far enough, at least 3 rounds of shooting. It's not about hugging the back corner, but just give myself more time and keep my fast cav away from his damn cavalry. These guys scout his cavalry, his archers. There is no reason for these guys to be within 30 inches of his archers. No reason at all. So fast cav should have been farther away from his archers. All my units should have been farther back. And then just let my catapults and caskets, my caskets can take care of his lion chariot because he's away from leadership and reroll. My catapults can just obliterate sword masters and still help out with the Lion Guard. I mean, I like the idea of the battle cats being far up, and everything else being farther back, and ensure that I get more rounds of shooting before just throwing things up there. I'm really lucky, really lucky, that the Lion Guard didn't shoot through. And when the Chariot charged in, he should have obliterated my units and then charged my Hierophant. Everything else in this game goes completely the other way, despite me having some fantastic luck. So I'm finding it ironic that in this tournament, the 2 games, well, 1 game especially, I feel like I played a pretty good game. I got no points. And then this game, I feel like I played a stupid game and I got pretty much full points. Go figure. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.